What happens when a lion sinks chest deep into a silent swamp, alone, exhausted, and out of time? No one expected what stepped out of the grass next, and what happened after left even the rescuers speechless. The morning heat had not yet risen. A thin layer of mist hung low over the earth, clinging to tall yellow grasses and the dry bones of acacia trees. The air was still, heavy with the scent of wet clay and decaying leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a hornbill called once and went silent. Everything felt quiet, but not calm. There was tension in the stillness, like something beneath the surface was waiting to be noticed. He came from the east, alone. The lion was young, barely past adolescence. His mane was just starting to grow in, patchy and rough around the edges. His body was lean, ribs pressing against the hide, not from hunger, but from miles of walking without rest. He had lost his pride weeks earlier. Whether they had turned him out or vanished into the hills, he no longer searched. He moved slowly, like a creature who had learned that moving too fast cost energy he might not get back. He had come to the water. The land here sloped downward into what used to be a dry basin, but recent rains had turned it into a hidden trap. From a distance it looked solid, dry mud hardened by the sun. Up close, it was something else entirely, soft, shifting, waiting. The lion stepped forward. One paw sank deeper than expected. He paused, sniffed, took another step. The ground caved. In less than 5 seconds, his front legs were swallowed up to the shoulder. He let out a sharp, guttural sound. Not a roar, more like a groan of disbelief. He twisted his body, tried to pull back, but the mud tightened. His hind legs scrambled for traction, kicking up wet clumps. They too began to sink. Now, his chest was pressed against the mud, neck stretched, head held just above the surface. His breath quickened. Flies swarmed around his face. The mud crept higher, sucking at his fur like quicksand. He stilled. For a moment, there was no sound except the sticky pull of the earth around him. He blinked slowly, eyes darting across the horizon, but there was nothing. No movement, no sign of help. He was not in pain yet, but he was stuck, and the swamp was not letting go. Far off, the low hum of an engine broke the silence. A dust-covered Land Cruiser rolled along a narrow track. Inside were 3 figures. Musa, a veteran ranger with 30 years behind him. Sarah, a young wildlife vet, alert and focused. And Joseph, a local teen who had guided them through the region's less traveled routes. Sarah sat up straighter. "Stop the car." Musa slowed down. "What is it?" She pointed. Through the thinning fog, something moved, barely visible, but unmistakably out of place. The line of the earth shifted, as if something large and alive was breathing under the mud. "That's a lion," she said quietly. They stopped 200 feet out. Sarah grabbed her binoculars. "He's trapped. Deep." Musa nodded once. "We need to move fast." They approached cautiously. The lion's body twitched as they came closer. His ears flicked at the sound of their boots in the wet grass. He didn't growl. He didn't bare his teeth. He just watched. His eyes met Sarah's. There was no fear in them, just exhaustion and something like surrender. Sarah crouched, her boots sinking slightly into the damp earth. "We've got minutes, not hours." They had no stretcher, no tranquilizer, only ropes, wooden poles, and experience. Musa moved around to the other side of the swamp, speaking in low tones to Joseph, handing him one end of the rope. Sarah tossed the other toward the lion's front leg. It missed. She tried again. The lion flinched, his body sliding half an inch deeper. Sarah froze. He's going under. She moved closer, slow and deliberate. The lion didn't resist. His body barely moved now. His breathing was shallow. Mud clung to his face and shoulders, darkening his golden coat to the color of ash. His whiskers were heavy with wet grit. A thin film of sweat coated her back. The sun was rising fast now. Time was against them. And then a sound. Not from the lion, not from them. It came from behind the swamp, soft at first, then sharper, a splash, followed by something else, heavy, moving. Sarah turned her head. Joseph went rigid. Musa looked past the tree line and cursed under his breath. Something else was coming, but what happened next to this lion was even more unexpected. You will not want to miss what unfolds in the next chapter. The sun had risen higher now, burning through the last strips of morning haze. The air was thicker, hotter. Insects hummed low across the wetland, their wings brushing against the tall reeds. The stench of stagnant mud mixed with the sharp, dry scent of crushed grass. Every few seconds, a splash echoed faintly. Somewhere just beyond the clearing, the lion was still trapped. His breathing had grown heavier. His chest moved slowly, ribs barely rising above the mud. The tip of his tail twitched once, then went still. His eyelids drooped, but he fought to keep them open. His ears flicked at each noise, the rope dragging through the dirt, the low voices of the humans, the sound of something approaching from behind the trees. Sarah crouched lower, both hands gripping the rope now fastened around the lion's leg. We need to pull, now. Musa nodded and tightened his grip on the other end. Joseph braced his weight with both feet planted wide in the soft earth. The rope tensed. The lion stirred. He growled, not out of fear, but from discomfort. His body shifted slightly, the mud letting go with a thick, wet sound. The rope slid against his leg, then caught. His claws flexed. He let out a low, throaty moan, more warning than protest. Easy, Sarah whispered. The moment held. Then the silence broke. From the far side of the marsh, the tall reeds parted. A second lion appeared. She was older, larger. Her coat was darker, marked by old scars across her shoulder. Her mouth was slightly open, nostrils flaring. She moved low and steady, her body tense but quiet. Her eyes locked onto the scene in front of her. The trapped male, the people, the rope. Sarah stood still. She's watching, Musa said. His voice was low, steady. She's not charging, yet. The male didn't react to her at first. Then his ears turned slightly. A sound rumbled in his chest, but he didn't lift his head. He knew she was there. She stepped forward, one pace, then two. Her paws made no sound on the wet grass. The distance between them closed. Sarah raised one hand slowly, motioning for Musa to stop pulling. Hold. The lioness stopped, maybe 15 yards away. She lowered her head, eyes flicking from the trapped lion to the rope to Sarah. Then, without warning, she let out a low, rumbling sound. Deep. Not aggressive, but not passive either. A warning. The trapped lion shifted again, legs trembling. His eyes opened wider now. For a moment, he looked stronger. His chest lifted slightly from the mud. Sarah spoke without taking her eyes off the lioness. We cannot leave him, but if we make the wrong move, we lose both. The wind shifted. The lioness turned her head slightly, catching the scent of diesel, metal, sweat. Her ears flicked once, then forward again. And then she backed up. One step, then another. Slowly, silently, she disappeared back into the grass. Sarah exhaled. Pull. This time, they pulled together. Sarah, Musa and Joseph, using every ounce of force the ground would give them. The rope creaked, stretched, then caught. The lion's front leg came free. His body jerked. He snarled, weakly, more from instinct than resistance. The mud tore around his shoulders. His breathing grew faster. One of his hind legs kicked. Then again. Musa shouted, "No!" With one last tug, the lion's torso rose above the surface. His muscles trembled. He was coated in thick, dark mud. Every movement was slow, heavy, but his paws touched solid ground. He pulled forward on his own, inch by inch, then he stopped. His whole body heaved with breath. The humans backed away. Sarah knelt, watching closely. Let him rest. The lion did not run. He lay still, eyes half closed, chest rising and falling. For a few long moments there was only breathing and the soft creak of rope settling into grass. Then he stood. Unsteady at first, then stronger. His legs wobbled, but he held his balance. He turned his head, not toward the people, but toward the reeds where the lioness had vanished. He stood like that for nearly a minute. Then, with a heavy step, he walked forward. The climax of his story begins now. Everything will be decided in the next moments.